Christmas. Fashion Revolution Week is in full swing, and in honor of the occasion, all of my videos and content this week will be themed around sustainable fashion. But in order to talk about sustainability within the fashion industry, we must first talk about what is unsustainable within the fashion industry. Fast fashion is the biggest issue that the industry currently faces. But what is it? Fast fashion is a business model that produces large quantities of garments that are usually very low quality, that are designed to be discarded within a season or two. This can either be because the item is so trendy that in a couple seasons it won't be stylish anymore and you won't like it, or it can be so low quality that it will fall apart in a couple seasons. Also, there are 52 seasons in a year. In fast fashion businesses, new garments hit the shelf weekly, and old garments are often sent to landfill. The speed of production is what defines this business model. And in order to convince buyers to purchase these cheap garments that are going to be thrown away quickly is by making the prices dirt cheap. Now, the super unfortunate thing is that we've reached a stage in fast fashion where price is no longer an indicator. Clothing no longer has to be dirt cheap because we've reached this stage in fashion consumption where it is normalized to only wear a garment a few times before you get rid of it. Fast fashion has existed since the 80s, and since then it's only gotten more and more pervasive. At this point, it is so normalized that most consumers aren't even capable of telling the difference between low quality and high quality construction. I mean, most people don't even know how to sew anymore, so it's kind of hard to tell what's good quality and bad quality when you don't know how it works. Fast fashion inherently devalues clothing and turns it into a disposable product, as opposed to a utilitarian investment. In the 21st century, we love to talk about the excess of the Elizabethan era and the Rococo era and Marie Antoinette especially, and all of those figures. But back then, most people only bought like maybe one or two outfits a year. In fact, for much of history, most royals were only legally allowed to purchase one outfit a year. One outfit that took an entire year to plan, even if it is encrusted with jewels, is more sustainable than whatever this is. We are not mere clowns. We are the whole circus. Media and advertising, mostly advertising, has slowly made us lose our connection to clothing. We no longer view it as a means of protection or expression, but as a good that we purchase with little thought and discard with even less thought. Our closets are overstuffed, but we still have nothing to wear because our relationship with fashion has been fundamentally changed. And this has devastating effects on the environment. Clothing is made out of fabric, which is made out of spun fibers that have been woven together. These fibers, if they're not made out of various plastics, came from plant matter that had to be farmed. And then those farmed plants had to be processed into that fiber in the first place. All of the materials used to produce your clothing came from somewhere. They took labor to grow, assemble, dye, cut, sew, and distribute. Before the t-shirt that you just bought made it to your hands, it passed through the hands of dozens of other people before you. And if you only paid $5 for it, I'm guessing those people weren't paid very much. Now, unethical labor practices are an issue that plague every part of the fashion industry. Even luxury brands have this issue. But when you add that speed of production that fast fashion adheres to, that thing that defines fast fashion, the problem is exacerbated. Fast fashion companies push factories to their limits and to, unfortunately, often disastrous effects. So now that we know what fast fashion is, what do we do about it? Luckily for us, Fashion Revolution has an entire website dedicated to actions that you can take in your personal life and in a grander scheme. This video isn't sponsored by them or anything, but they really do have some great resources that you can use, like shopping guides, educational resources, and email templates that you can send to all of your favorite brands to ask them about their practices. Or bits that you can send to your politicians to ask them to stand up for the rights of workers, and to ask them to consider initiatives for a greener fashion industry. One of the biggest actions that I've taken in my personal life is to not just boycott fast fashion, but to also redefine my own relationship with clothing. It's been a process. It's taken me quite a long time to get to this point. I've been boycotting fast fashion for over a year, almost a year and a half now, and just rethinking the way I buy clothing, rethinking how I decide what to buy has done wonders for not just my sense of self and my personal style, but also my carbon footprint. I no longer buy clothing nearly as often as I used to, and I see the purchases I make as long-term investments as opposed to short-term endorphin releases. I spend not only less money on clothes, but less time mindlessly scrolling clothing sites. And I appreciate the wardrobe that I do have so much more. Unfortunately, not everybody has the ability to quit fast fashion altogether. Some people still need work clothes that they aren't able to find secondhand. Some people don't have thrift stores available to them. Fast fashion is a big and complex issue, but there are still things that everyone can do to make their voice heard. You can buy secondhand clothing more often and limit your purchases of new clothing to only what is necessary. You can learn to buy less just overall. You can sign petitions and join protests, help to spread educational resources, and of course, the number one most important thing, vote. Industries are bound by laws, even the really big ones. Vote for labor rights in your own country and support the unionization of those affected by poor labor practices in their own countries. This video is only meant to be an introduction to fast fashion. Like I said, this is a massive and complex issue that can't be fixed overnight. And it requires way more than one YouTube's video's worth of time to fully understand all the nuances. So I will be leaving some of my favorite resources down in the description box below. That's all for today's video. I hope everybody has a great day. I know this is a big topic and not super digestible, but we've all got to start somewhere on this path to sustainability. Definitely check out the Fashion Revolution website, and with that, I will see you all next time.